Hello everyone, it's Leon here and welcome to this week's PS4 O'Clock. Now first up this week we have a return for the rumour that Sony are about to announce their virtual reality headset for PS4. Now this is a rumour that's been floating around for a while. It was supposed to be announced at E3 last year, at GDC last year. Tokyo Game Show was apparently when it was going to be unveiled. But the rumour doing the rounds at the moment, according to a source from Tech Radar, is that it's going to be announced at GDC in March. It's going to be a hardware focus to start with, and then they're going to show games at E3. Now, apparently the reason it's been delayed so much is that Sony have been wanting to perfect the device and get it perfect. And according to this source, the quality and the resolution of the headset are very good, and people will apparently be impressed with what Sony's built. They've created their own device because I'm guessing they haven't been able to form any kind of licensing agreement or partnership with Oculus Rift. And Oculus Rift have sort of gone on record as saying that they didn't think consoles were good enough for the Oculus Rift headset. They thought they were too limited. So it looks like Sony's forged ahead and gone and created their own. We saw that The Witness teased some virtual reality screens a little while back. That's been confirmed for Oculus Rift. We saw a blog post showing the stereographic images. But it's also on PC, so that explained why. But it looks like it will also be one of the first VR titles, if this rumour is true. There's also been some talk that Drive Club's been held back to make it ready for the VR headset, but that's very, very sketchy kind of rumours. We will find out, though, in GDC in March. That's on the 16th. We will know more then. Next up, we have a couple of bits of news for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. First of all, the PS4 Retail Edition has had a price cut. Now it now costs $29.99. Konami have said the change in price matches the digital price for the consoles as well as the retail pricing for the physical editions for the PS3 version. The digital version of the game for PS3 will remain $19.99. But they've dropped the boxed version of Ground Zeroes on PS4 to $29.99. Clearly, they've realised that people aren't reacting too well to the stories about the length of the game. It's 2 hours to complete the main mission, whatever the sort of side objectives and extras are. So they've dropped the price by £10. Whether or not that's enough to change people's mind, we'll have to wait and see. But they have lowered the price. Konami has said that this is to provide as many people as possible with an opportunity to experience Kojima Productions' new Fox engine and the first instalment in the two-part Metal Gear Solid 5 experience. Now the second part is obviously Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. There's no date on that from Konami yet. All they've said is that it will launch on both current and next gen systems at a later date. My hunch is it won't see 2014, it might not even see 2015, it could be early 2016. I think part of the reason they've pushed Ground Zeroes out is to have something Metal Gear happening in the long gap until The Phantom Pain arrives. Now to go with Ground Zeroes, we do have some new information on the iDroid companion app. Now this is a companion version of the handset that Snake can access in-game to see various statistics, maps and so on, but it's also available as a second screen companion app. Now this provides things like stats, with Ground Zeroes being built around replaying and going for sort of leaderboards and completing various challenges. You'll be able to see all your stats in the iDroid app. You'll be able to look at a map. Now this will track soldiers that you have tagged in the game. It'll also show heat maps of where various other players died. So you'll be able to see danger zones, whether to avoid them or to set yourself a challenge and see if you can get through them. You can also call in helicopters. You can also listen to cassette tapes, which will contain background info for various things in the game and also some of the music. Most interestingly, you'll be able to customize and set up Snake's mother base, much the same way as you could in Peace Walker. The difference being here is that whatever you set up, however you make your base, whatever recruits you get and whatever jobs you give them, that will all carry over to the Phantom Pain. So you'll be able to set up and tune elements of the Phantom Pain long before the game finally comes out. This app at the moment has only been dated for Japan, and it's the same release date as Japan, which is also the same release date as the UK. So it'll be out when the game is out in Japan on the 20th. The UK has the same release date for Ground Zero, so I'm assuming it'll be out at the same time there. Now we've also had a little bit more extra information on The Order following its hands-on and preview reveal last week. Ready at Dawn's Ru Weerasuriya, co-founder and creative director of The Order, gave out a little bit more information on some of the combat, the cover system, Morse code and the monocular. Wasn't a lot of new information. He basically said that the combat we saw, the QTEs where they're struggling to grab the knife, will be a little more complicated than simply just choosing A or B, and it might possibly branch out to different options depending on the choices you make. He also talked a little bit about the cover system, which would be a seamless kind of blend between full cover and soft cover. So I think what he's saying is that there will be a button-based kind of hard lock snap to cover, but there will also be a soft animation-based cover, a little bit like The Last of Us or Tomb Raider, where proximity to cover will force the character to assume a certain posture. We've also finally had confirmation of how the monocular will be used to communicate with airships via Morse code. The way the system works is that you target an airship through the monocular and then you can send messages. It'll display a Morse code signal on the screen and you tap on the touchpad to send a signal. One of the messages, for example, was attention. The gameplay that's sort of been discussed is being able to call in support, call in airstrikes. The monocular has also been discussed as having multi-purpose use and different modes of gameplay for which it will be implemented. What those will be, we don't yet know, but I'm guessing it will be signalling, it'll be calling for aid, maybe targeting. But it's clear that the Order, as I suggested last week, has more to offer than maybe just the third-person cover-based shooting that's been shown so far. We'll find out more, I guess, later in the year. We've also had confirmation this week that Outlast will be getting its Whistleblower DLC in April. Now, this is an expansion that follows Wayland Park, the software engineer that tips you off to what's happening at Mount Massive Asylum right at the beginning of the first game. When you get that folder and you look at the message telling you to go and investigate the asylum, he's the guy that sent it. While it's a prequel, it's also apparently going to show the final chapter. What Red Barrels have said is that although Whistleblower tells the story that led to Outlast, it will actually stretch past the events of the first game to show the final chapter in Mount Massive Asylum's story. So it's both a prequel and a closing chapter, and that will be out in April. Now, something that's been confirmed this week, just moments before I type these cards out, is that Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition is coming to PS4 as one of the PS Plus games in March. It had been leaked as a list of games coming to PS Plus previously, then apparently confirmed by Sony's Asia blog a couple of days ago, but now it's been fully announced, it's official, it's coming to PlayStation 4 in the PlayStation Plus lineup on the 5th of March. Now, this is an enhanced version, full 1080p HD, improved textures, rendering and effects. The most interesting feature though is that it has the ability for people watching streams to affect your game. So this is similar to the feature that Daylight hinted at last week. What players can do is they can vote on a number of effects that can be implemented in the game. Now, this can be anything from giving the player ammo to disabling their ability to sprint. Apparently there are 30 of these different things, and I'm guessing in much the same way that the Pokemon experiment on Twitch worked, viewers will be able to vote and type for a certain response in, and then it will pick the one that gets the most votes. So you could switch someone's ammo off, you could make them run faster, you could have different effects on their game. So that could be quite an interesting experiment. It will also come with a second screen support, so you'll be able to check stats. And the Road to Devastation expansion is included, and there's a challenge mode in there so that you can challenge people to try and beat your score. So there you go, Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition, enhanced for PS4, out on March the 5th as part of PS Plus's free games. So there you go, that's this week's PS4 news roundup. We've got Sony potentially finally revealing their PS4 VR headset at GDC in March. We've got a price cut for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes on PS4. It's now $29.99 for the boxed edition. All the other prices remain the same. We've also seen that the iDroid companion app for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, that's both available in the game and as a second screen app, will let you check heat maps, it'll let you check your stats, where other players have died, but most importantly it will let you build and customise your mother base, which will then carry over to Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, which is still releasing at a later date, according to Konami. We've also had new information from the Order detailing a slightly more advanced kind of combat system using cover and different kind of hand-to-hand options, as well as seeing how it could be used to signal blimps using the monocular and Morse code on the touchpad. We've also got confirmation that Outlast will be getting its Whistleblower DLC in April, and Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition has been confirmed for PS4 as March's PS Plus game. And finally, just to round off, we also had some new Wolfenstein The New Order gameplay this week as part of a video preview. You should see a link for that somewhere around the screen now if you want to watch that. As ever, any questions, leave a comment, I shall try and answer them, and also any suggestions for anything you'd like to see covered, leave a comment, and I shall see you guys next week. Hello everyone, it's Leon here, and Surya. Now we've also had a little bit more extra information on the Order following its hands-on and preview reveal last week. They also had some comment from and Ready at Dawn's Surya, co-founder and creative director